Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hello, good morning. I think I already said that, but you might not have heard it. January 23rd, and it's a Tuesday. Susan.
Yes.
Oh, good God.
Yeah, I sound terrible. I haven't actually said anything to anybody today. See, I missed my dog.
No, I know. I know how that works. That you don't. Sometimes the first thing I say in the morning is, on the show, if I'm not speaking to the dog for some reason. But yeah.
And you not speak to Blue out of a fit of pique?
Yes, well, believe me, if there were ever to be a day like that, this would be the day. I have more than enough reason for a fit of pique. Since I had trouble sleeping last night, he seemed to be having trouble too. So we're both like blah 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 blah. And I, at one point, finally, I must have fallen asleep pretty hard because I woke up and rolled over, and my hand fell into
vomit.
Yeah.
Oh, the phone has been removed from my ear. I am wincing. I'm sorry. If anybody's actually listening to this, I'm sorry.
A pile of puke.
Well, so the poor dog didn't feel good. That's why
he wasn't feeling well. I know. I knew he was in some kind of distress, but usually, and the fact that I finally must have been sleeping hard enough that I didn't hear.
You didn't hear him throw up right on your pillow? Oh, for heaven's sakes. How could he do it on your bed? That's very undog-like. The rug makes sense, especially if there's a nice tile floor right next to the rug.
Yeah, I know. They always go on the rug. But no, this was, and it's, unbelievable. And I just changed the sheets yesterday. So this would be a good day not to be talking to him, is all I'm saying.
But he's sick.
Yeah, I think it's my fault. I do. I gave him.
You fed him something bad.
Mm-hmm. I did. I'm complicit.
You're not only complicit, you're the cause, and yet you're still angry.
No, I'm really not. How could I be? I'm only angry at myself. He seems to have forgiven me. He doesn't hold me responsible, God knows. But yeah. Well, see, dogs, dogs are so good at controlling us and guilting us into giving them whatever they want that even, you have trouble sometimes not giving them things, this is not really good for you, but I really know you would love it. Like the remnants of your dinner stuff. Yeah?
Yeah.
I know. So this is where I'm not being a good...
No, I keep vowing that with my next animal, I'm going to feed them appropriately. I'm not going to spoil them. I'm not going to, and I know in short order he'll be 5 pounds overweight, eating whatever I'm eating.
I don't know, Yeah, I know, but I was thinking we get all mucked up in that we think we totally anthropomorphize them. They're dogs. When I think of how I remake my life around him. And how he comes to, he is probably more in charge of the relationship than I am. I feel constant guilt if I leave him, if I, don't, it's disgusting. I think I'm nuts.
Yeah, I think you're probably a normal dog owner, but I know what you're talking about. And I have to remember to enjoy not feeling that way until I feel that way again.
Yeah, right. Enjoy the respite from their...
No, I am. I'm thoroughly enjoying the respite.
Dominance.
Yeah, no, and no, for example, it is raining on top of snow in Chicago right now. So I mean, if I had to walk him outside, it would just be the most miserable of things. So instead, I'm inside going as I watch everybody else in my neighborhood, because everybody owns a dog.
Seems
you know.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I came across this, and I wanted to ask if this had happened to you. Somebody posted somewhere, what is it with all the discarded chicken wing bones especially, that my dog constantly finds on our walks? I don't know if that happened to you, but it happens to me, not constantly.
That's never happened to me.
Okay, well, that happened to me twice.
Well, you got people walking around eating takeout and throwing the bones on the ground because they must think they're biodegradable. Actually, animals are just eating them and choking.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it turns out when I saw that, I thought, oh, it's not just me. And then a whole bunch of people were writing in about how, what is it with the chicken wing bones? And it seems like nobody ever saw anybody walking down the street eating chicken wings and throwing them. So then people started to surmise that perhaps it was more like critters getting into garbage, digging out chicken bones.
Oh, that might be it.
Maybe. I don't know.
Although I will tell you that if you are a person that still owns and uses a garbage disposal, the cooked chicken wings are one of the few things that are the bones that it's good to put in your disposal. They chop up nicely because they're hollow, and they sharpen the blades of your disposal to boot. So don't throw them in the garbage. Those are
tips.
Yeah. So when you make Oliver's stew, you can take that whole carcass and down it goes.
So not all chicken bones, you're saying?
All chicken bones.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, but it really can be deadly for a dog.
Well, I'm telling you, as far as I'm concerned, it's a much safer way for precisely that reason of disposing of chicken bones. And, aside from, having to, contributing to what's going down your garbage disposal, it's a safer thing to do, and it's good for your disposal to boot.
Mm-hmm. Hey, it's odd. Last time you were on, maybe a week ago, Norman Jewison's name came up.
Yes, I was, I thought the exact same thing.
Well, sure, because how often do you think of Norman Jewison?
I hadn't talked about Norman Jewison in a while. You must have sensed.
I don't know, but wow. So I was reading, man, he's responsible for a lot of incredibly good movies. I mean, really ones that I think are some of the best. In the Heat of the Night being one of them. Yeah. In the Heat of the Night being absolutely one of them, and I think Moonstruck is another. Yeah, he
managed to make really good popular movies that were serious and worth your time all at the same time. You could be entertained and not talked down to.
What's weird, though, is that he, in the Heat of the Night, won the Academy Award for best film, and yet he didn't win Best Director. Those almost always come together. And Best Director went to Mike Nichols for...
Well, he had a lot of good ones, too.
Oh, incredible. Oh, for The Graduate.
Oh, right. Okay. So that was a year that they couldn't make up their mind between, one really good movie and another really good movie. So they gave one guy one thing and the other guy the other thing. Doesn't make any sense.
No.
That's why Best Movie doesn't make sense. How is The Heat of the Night any better or worse than The Graduate? They are totally apples and oranges.
Well, that's true. It's why I hate these awards.
Yeah.
And not to mention that, in fact, he also did a wonderful comedy, The Russians Are Coming, The Russians Are Coming. That was in 66. He did the Thomas Crown Affair.
That was our mother's refrain for like her 90s decade, when she was in her 90s. And she would, instead of saying the Russians are coming, she'd say the children are coming, the children are coming,
right.
as in we were going to put her in a nursing home or disappear her car.
No, it was her car. She was worried we'd take the keys.
Right. Well, she was watching all of her friends be disappeared and stuff.
Right. My God, he did Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah.
But it turns out that one of the reasons he was approached for Fiddler on the Roof is with a name like Jewison, it seemed like,
right. If he was a Jew. No.
He wasn't Jewish. He says, I'm saying.
I'm sorry. If your name is Norman Jewison, you be a Jew. You can say it any way you want, but I don't know. You're Jewish.
I mean, and
what is a Jew's son if not Jewish?
Well, my guess is, he was raised as a Methodist, and that was what he was. So he's one of those Jews who came from people who wanted to lose.
Who felt it was safer not to be. And there's many of them.
Yeah, there's tons of them. But wouldn't it have been, let's not be Jewish. Let's be Methodist, but we'll still carry the name Jewison.
Name Jewison? I know.
I know it doesn't make any sense. And then when I was reading his obit, it said that he just got a classic Jewish first generation bio. His parents were immigrants to Canada, and his father was a dry goods salesman.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay, that's what our grandfather was too, AKA a peddler.
Well, probably.
Or he might have been a salesman in a store. Right.
He ran a dry goods store.
Retail.
Apartment.
Okay.
Right. Whatever.
Retail.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But his father's name was Percy. That is so not a Jewish name. And his mother's name was Dorothy Weaver. So his mom was not a Jew.
Well, so where does Jewison come from if his father's name was one thing and his mother's name was another?
His father's name was Percy Jewison.
Oh, Percy Jewison. Percy.
Yeah. That's not a Jewish kind of. So I think the Jewisons, whoever they were, it doesn't make any sense that your name is Jewison. And names come from.
Well, maybe they were a direct descendant of Jesus or something, and so they were a Jew's son. But they were Christians.
He seems like a really nice guy, and he had a good life.
We're claiming him.
Yeah, well, no, I don't. It just doesn't.
Never occurred to me that a guy named Norman Jewison wasn't Jewish.
Of course not.
Well, we should explain. Our father's name is Norman, for one thing. So with us, it's associated with.
My God, if you look at the films he did, just mind blowing. Anyway, Norman Jewison, Methodist, 97 years old, is dead. And speaking of the Academy Awards, it's an obvious segue here. The nominations came out, and Susan hasn't watched a movie in so long that she's
not a good. No, I was thinking I'm in Chicago. I could watch some movies. Maybe I'll watch them.
Well, there's some good ones. The one that I raved about that I saw that I never heard of and no one else has either and won't win, but it's amazing. And it's a French.
After the Fall?
Anatomy of a Fall.
Anatomy of a Fall. That was the one I was going to start with. Everybody says it's the best movie of the year.
Well, I think a lot of people would not think that. It's a certain kind of film lover who would love it. It's very character driven and psychologically driven and very talky. So I don't know that a lot of people would like it. But it also got awards. It cleaned up. It got an award for Best Director, Best Film, Best actress, leading actress, maybe
Best director.
Yeah, and best director.
Also a woman who, but Greta Gerwig did not, and it's sort of like she took Greta's slot, sort of.
I don't know. I hated Barbie. I did not appreciate Oppenheimer. I've seen a lot of these films, and
I know. See, that's why I'm going. Why do I want to watch Barbie, and why do I want to watch Oppenheimer? I really don't.
I wouldn't. I would watch Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro. I
saw that.
Movies just didn't. They just didn't do it for me. So whatever. But that's just us. It's. But then you look at a year in which The Graduate is up and in the heat of the night, and you realize that the industry has another one too. That was amazing. Yeah. There was another one that was amazing. I forget. Yeah. So and all we get are Marvels and Star Wars and remakes and part 3, part 4s. Good scripts, good actors. Why not? Give it a try. But what I wanted to say about these awards in general is I'm looking at the Best Actress nominees. There are 5 of them. I have seen 4 of the films. The only one I didn't see is Emma Stone in Poor Things. And what I've read about Poor Things, I don't think I want to see it. And she's an amazing actress. I'm sure she's amazing. The others are Carey Mulligan for playing Bernstein's wife. And she was the best thing in the movie. Yes, Sandra Huller, who is the actress and the in Anatomy of a Fall. She's incredible. Lily Gladstone, who already has won everything in Killers of the Flower Moon. And Annette Bening, who plays Diana Nyad in which we also Nyad. Watched. Yeah. Which, and she's marvelous in it. But of those, how do you say they're all amazing? One that one wins does not. It drives me crazy. I know. It just drives me crazy. I don't know. So there's that. Otherwise, I don't give a damn. Well, what's interesting is my daughter and her husband mentioned that they had actually gone out to dinner and to a movie for the first time in what felt like maybe years since before they were married. And she looked at me, she said, well, I really enjoyed the dinner, but I think I far prefer watching my movies at home now. Well, the reason going to the theater to see a movie is so awful is the half an hour of commercials first. Right. The endless, preamble that is just ridiculous. And the sound level. And then the loud sound. And I don't even get to the audience at this point. I'm so aggravated by the offerings, and the audience is the least of the problem. No, I mean, you go to the movies. You used to go to the movies so you didn't have to look at commercials. And if they added anything in the front, it was an added benefit, like a cartoon or a short or a newsreel. But it wasn't an ad. I mean, there are ads, and then there's trailer after trailer after trailer after trailer, and then there's flat out car commercials. Car commercials now, and then there's all the eat this, eat that. It's beyond belief how long it goes on. So I've seen someone wrote something, I think, in the Atlantic where they actually. No, I think it was the New York Times, and they they tried to game it. They tried to game the system, so they arrived 15 minutes after what was said to be the time for the movie to start, and they still ended up sitting through a whole bunch of crap. It's ridiculous. So for theaters who have to be aware, would think that a lot of people are not seeing why they should bother to go, why they would then make things worse by doing that. And why they don't hear all of us people screaming, turn the volume down.
Ow.
It hurts.
You're making your customers deaf. We could actually sue you for assault. Stop it.
Yeah, but you know what? The more they do that, they help make people deaf, and then you got to turn the volume up a little further because everybody's deaf.
Well, see, so guess what? I like staying home where I can eat my own food and drink better wine. If that's their new, kick, I'll get you drunk. But I also can use my own clean bathroom
and whenever I want. Pause it. Yeah,
right. And I can pause it. Right.
Yeah. I don't know.
And now enough people have just put a great big screen in a room and put a sound stick underneath it. And if you want the big screen, big noise experience, well, you can have that at home too.
Yeah, there's a guy, when I walk my dog, there's a house that has a screen that is so huge. And I sometimes stand there outside and watch TV.
Yeah, there is a house.
Almost always sports, but I do sometimes watch. Yeah,
there is a house. Okay, this won't mean it is not the house next to our mother's house, but the house across the 4-lane street next to that house that sits far back from that road, and I can look in their front window and watch TV.
Yeah.
And I can see that screen is so big, I don't even have good eyesight, and I can see what I'm watching.
Yeah.
So that screen must take up their whole front.
Well, there's a piece in the Atlantic today about why the rich now don't have curtains. And you can see into their homes. They are perfectly happy. I mentioned the other day walking the dog at night. I love looking in people's, seeing,
Well, I figure in Chicago at night, if you have your sidewalk, your side windows wide open with your lights on, you want me to look.
Well, yeah, but they feel secure. They also, according to this article, might be showing off. They want to show, look at what I have. And, it turns out, a lot of us think, well, you don't want people to see, live in your life.
We were just raised that way, quite, up front, that it was rude, inconspicuous consumption. The front of your house should be plain. It can be as lovely as you want inside, but it's nobody else's business.
Well, I mean, I don't know why people have curtains and stuff other than to be private, but it also is a security thing for a lot of people. So, people can't look in your windows and see stuff they might want to lift.
I want that. Yeah.
But so the article says people being able to look right into your home, while some people might feel vulnerable if that were the case, it is actually a statement of security, that people feel perfectly secure in who they are and what they're doing. I mean, I
dangling their valuables in front of the poor schmo out in the cold. I think it's rude.
I don't even know if that's what it is. I don't know that that's necessarily what everybody's thinking. The article also said that the Dutch, as a whole, the people in the Netherlands rarely cover their windows at night because that culture thinks that letting your neighbors see inside your home is an act of community and an act of faith. That's a whole different culture. And in rural Denmark, it says, closed curtains are treated with suspicion.
What's happening in there?
That's right. So in the United States, the uncovered window is perhaps less an expression of communal trust than one of personal.
I have a really fine burglar alarm.
Yeah, probably. The curtainless window has become one of the more subtle statements of privilege. Who the hell knows?
Well, I'm just thinking back to the home that I spent most of my time in St. Louis. And I remember coming into that house and thinking, I'm taking all the windows, all the curtains off and just letting the light in. It's so beautiful here, and I'm surrounded by trees, and who's going to look in? So I took all the blinds off, one, because it was coming in style not to have heavy curtains and swags all over everything, but two, because there was delightful light coming in the front of the house and beautiful forest, providing total privacy in the back of the house. For what should I buy curtains? So I didn't.
I have a very, they say people who live in glass houses. I have a very glass house.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I love the house is because the outdoors feels part of it. And you lose all of that if you have, curtains and if things are drawn. I always can tell if my son maybe has been in the house if I've been gone, because when I come back, it's dark in here. He's pulled all the shades and I don't. I also live in a place where who the hell could look in here anyway?
Right.
But the front I do try to keep a sort of whatever. But I think a little too much could be made of all of that, is my guess.
Yeah, but in my case, in the sense that I felt perfectly safe doing it, I did, but it wasn't because of anything other than where I was and how my house was located on a street in private. So that gave me the option to own my space, so to speak.
Well, that house was at the end of a cul-de-sac.
It was
secure and
in the woods, right?
Yeah, we got a caller. Hello.
Good morning, Lynn and Susan.
Hi. Good morning.
I just wanted to make a little statement about going to the movies. I happen to live in the North Hills and go to the theater in the Canlis Crossing. We went to see something over the holidays, and there were 3 of us. So we decided we were going to have dinner and go later because we did not want to sit through all of that. So there at that theater, if you go later, it's so dark, and you have to pick a seat, and it's unbelievable. We were afraid we were going to kill ourselves all. So the 3 of us were in our 70s.
Holding hands, cowering,
We literally were doing that. And, we enjoyed Napoleon. We really did. And I guess it's not up for anything. But, it's frightening. What are you supposed to do? And, Susan, when you talk about the sound, I can't stand it.
No, It's too loud.
No, it's assaultive. It really is. It hurts.
Yeah.
But it was never like that.
Well, it is now.
It's now. Yeah. It has been for a while. It was like that before the pandemic. So I don't know. But it does keep me away.
But I guess I'm thinking years ago. So I agree. To me, getting Netflix and HBO and so forth, there's so much at home. And I was wondering if either one of you, I know this was on regular television and I never saw it, but now it's on Netflix and it's called This Is Us. Have you girls watched that?
I watched it off and on the first season. And it's a beautiful show, especially if you can binge it.
That's what I'm doing in these winter days when I can't get out of my driveway.
Yeah.
I just thought it was unbelievable. So anyway,
I think, I don't.
As a matter of fact, the Spencer, whatever his name is, who won tons of Emmys for that show, is up for an Academy Award for his first big star turn in a movie. So. Sterling K. Brown is his name, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's phenomenal.
Susan,
I
don't
they
think
all
he's up
were.
for anything.
Yeah, he's up. He is up for something.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
I'm
that.
checking. Okay, Sterling.
Did you happen to watch it? Did you watch it, Lynn?
No, I didn't. I watched a little bit of it, and for some reason didn't get pulled. I watched a little bit. I could see it was good. Sterling K. Brown is Best Supporting Actor for American Fiction.
See?
Oh.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. Well,
and also Best Actor, I just want to say, for a film made, much of it made here in Pittsburgh, Best Actor nomination, he won't win it, for Coleman Domingo for the lead in a film called Rustin, which nobody saw.
I thought.
Right.
I thought.
Okay.
Is it worth it?
Nah, it's not great. It's okay.
It's okay.
History. It's
history that I didn't know. I think it was well acted. It's worth it.
Well, thank you, girls. I was just curious if you've encountered the darkness and us holding on to each other.
Oh no, I have stumbled in a theater late and thought, whoa, and so I knew what you were doing because I've done it.
Okay, I'm assuming you didn't see us because we're here in Pittsburgh, but
no, we did not. Don't worry, nobody.
I know. I just have been there and done that. Clearly.
Okay, love the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, Susan, another thing. I just love it when I don't have to talk about all this crap.
Me too.
Okay, so the New York Times today has this thing on menus. It says menus can be a time capsule of food culture. And so they looked at menus at restaurants from across the country to get a sense of the latest trends. And it says they found that Yuzu was inescapable. YUZU. What is?
Oh, is that? I think. Okay, I'm gonna guess that it's a kind of a stalky vegetable. I don't know why I'm saying that. I'm gonna Google
why would they say that Yuzu is inescapable when I've never even heard of it?
Oh well,
so
now
it's very escapable.
Yuzu fruit. Okay. It's a citrus fruit and plant in the family Rudicae of East Asian origin. Yuzu has been cultivated mainly in East Asia. Okay, so I don't know.
No,
I was wrong.
So this is where, see, media that like the New York Times
tastes sort of like a grapefruit, maybe with a little orange in it.
It's like, I mean, boy, they are elitists. I don't know. I never heard of the term Yuzu, and they say it's inescapable. Where are you guys hanging out? Those of you who write the paper of record.
Hey, you. God. We wouldn't know a Yuzu if it bit us in the nose. We would go, hey, what's Yuzu that thing that tastes a little bit like a grapefruit or maybe an orange? Oh, no, who cares?
Jeez. God.
Well, they're eating in a lot of sushi restaurants, so because that's where you'd probably find it mostly.
Well, fine, whatever. I just thought. And speaking of vegetables,
oh, and they're 15 pounds or more. They're expensive.
They're big. Okay. So, okay. Here's the other thing I wanted to say that is of no. If it really requires video, if you haven't seen it, look it up. It's a meteorological phenomenon that occurred Friday and had meteorologists going berserk. And Susan, it happened very close to where you're sitting right now. I'm looking at a screenshot of radar. It's the radar that freaked everybody out. And I am looking at something I've never seen before. It's called, let me find the name. It is called a mesovortex. And it is a whirlwind. And there was
it sort of looks like a pimple of snow.
I don't see that at all. It looks like a chain. It was up the center of Lake Michigan. and it looks like an interlocking chain, thin as can be, of these eddies about 10 to 20 miles wide, and each one just has a locally intense low pressure system in it. And I guess wherever this little thing went, and it didn't, it was so concentrated, but where it went, it dumped like 3 feet of snow, bang, on people. Here's some quotes from meteorologists who saw it. Wow, I can't remember another sequence of
okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're thinking.
This one, and wow, somebody says, wow, it can't get more sexy. Well, this guy better, that's somebody. And I've never seen such an example of mesoscale vortices as there is here. Wild. So some places in Michigan and Indiana got 36 inches of snow, like bang, when this thing blew through. But it's rare to see it like that. Check it out.
Yeah, I'm checking it out. Okay, what I was looking at was like the eyes of vortexes, but this is just this huge, long, snake-like thing that is just going up the lake and dumping snow. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently extremely rare. So which is why all the meteorologists were going nuts. But again, it's part and parcel of where we are, which is meteorologists in general are saying WTF every 5 seconds because stuff is happening that's never happened before, or rarely happened before. Okay, I'm afraid, Susan, that the fun is over. We made it almost 2/3 of the way. Well, yeah,
not bad. We got to talk. We have to actually have some.
No,
substance.
I just came upon some when you were talking about menus. I was going to go into this because
I wasn't talking about menus. You were talking about menus.
Okay, when we were talking about menus, or I was talking about menus, I thought of salad, and then I thought of word salad.
Yes,
and how Trump, this is true, is because he's not being covered as much as he was, where we were subjected to every speech he made last time he ran. We're not being subjected, but maybe we should be, because he is not well.
No, he's not compos mentis. He can't tell the difference between Nikki Haley and Nancy Pelosi.
That's one. But I saw a clip from New Hampshire from last night, which is literally incomprehensible. And he's standing up there and he's like whispering too. Here's just a little part of it that somebody transcribed. This country, which is incapable of solving even the smallest problem. We are an institute in a powerful death penalty.
Well, penalty spiral, it's the same thing.
My God.
Well, they could both be football terms.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, this guy is seriously,
non-compos mentis.
Not in his right mind. Absolutely. Frightening. And maybe, this is why I'm starting to think.
Maybe now we should be covering them.
They should cover it because it's incomprehensible. And the people in the audience, I mean, what the hell are they thinking? They can't comprehend any of it. But their guy, Dan Rather, is freaking out about what he means. And he says he has changed what was until recently considered unacceptable behavior for our leaders. He has normalized bigotry, misogyny, racism, yada, 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 yada. He has fundamentally changed us. And you think about it, that he has what he has wrought, the damage. He has changed our relationship with facts. Scientific truths are scoffed at. He has changed the lives of every woman in America whose bodily autonomy has been curtailed by his Supreme Court. He has changed how we show our discontent. He has changed how we socialize in public places. He has changed the lives of millions who lost loved ones to COVID. He has changed how we interact with family members. He has changed how safe we now feel in places and even in driving our cars. He has changed how we start relationships. He has changed where we feel comfortable living.
You're right. There are whole states that I don't want to step foot in, It's awful.
Yeah. I mean.
And I used to like Florida.
Well,
not going there anymore.
Florida. I'm not, never, haven't, won't, done. So I don't know. I continue to say it says more about us and our culture than it does about him, that a man so bereft of any saving graces could ascend to this position. It says something about us.
But was it that Kelly said that he'd never in his life met a more flawed human being? It just a mistake from beginning to end.
Who said that?
Kelly, the general.
Oh, yeah. Well, he should have been more forthright.
Yeah, I know. It's all too little, too late.
All right. What am I want to talk about here? Oh, I came on another good quote I want to share. This is from another one of my favorite authors or commentators, Charlie Pierce, writes for Esquire, I believe. And he said, I don't appreciate the irony of the fact that there are so many places now in this country where you have to live The Handmaid's Tale, but you can't read it.
Yeah.
Think of that. Isn't that it?
Yep.
Nails it.
Well, but that makes total sense. You must read it. If you read it, then you'll have an idea of what's happening to you and that it's dystopian.
Right. So it's a dangerous read, but you're
because they don't want you to be warned.
Now, I know the big news today is supposedly the New Hampshire primary. I don't give a shit. I just want to say that right now.
I know, and that's all anybody's talking about, and I don't either.
No. And we'll see if the polls are right, and he's, it's all over, but the shouting. And I just, God help us. That's all I got to say. God help us.
Did you talk about the city council in St. Paul that's made up of 9 different women of different colors and places? And
I didn't, but I did see that. Yeah. Well, good. They all, they all came from their communities and did the work, and that's how you get elected. Well,
but it's another sign that when women decide to do stuff, the men just get scared and go running, or the women.
Well, no, women. It's not women decide. Women finally have a chance usually to do stuff. when men have thoroughly mucked things up. So women come in and do cleanup.
Yeah, but every once in a while you get a Bobert or a Marjorie Taylor Greene or an Elise Stefanik.
Oh my God, they're horrible. And Elise Stefanik, more than Bobert, you can tell, is an
right.
idiot.
Right, she's just right.
And Marjorie Taylor Greene is an idiot. These women know nothing. They are uneducated. Elise Stefanik is Harvard educated.
Right, she's just a sellout.
Right,
she is just a greedy, nail climbing. See where I can get, and I'll bite anyone I want.
It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. Because we watched it. I mean, people watched it happen with their mouths open.
The other thing I've been thinking about and I want to talk about is, and I saw that someone who'd written a memoir that had to do with her son's struggles with addiction or whatever. This is years and years ago in Great Britain, and she came under attack at the time for, for violating his privacy and his right to tell his own story. Now,
well, wait a minute. Was he not deceased?
No.
Oh, he survived. Okay.
He survived. They threw him out of the house. I think this is a totally estranged situation. That's the point of it is I've read memoirs and I've enjoyed some, but I always think the same thing when I'm reading them.
Did you get permission from all those people?
Yeah, and how could they possibly have gotten permission from them? I mean, it's what stands in my way of ever writing a memoir. I couldn't, because some of the things I would have to say would truly hurt people who are alive
or their descendants, right,
or their descendants. And so I don't really understand how. I think a lot of memoir is very self-centered, obviously, but in a way that probably is hurtful to the people that find themselves.
Well, of course, but I mean, you and I were talking about what how we had. Yours isn't as improbably. It's not as improbable that you ran into as many interesting people as you did in your life as it is improbable that I ran into as many interesting people in my life. But it made us think that we should write about it. And when I think about it, part of the problem is that most of the stories are really not nice stories about these rather famous people.
That's true. I mean,
that's what makes them funny and interesting. They're people too, but I don't know.
Yeah, I just have never been able to understand. So, I mean, that has been in my way of writing a true depiction of my life. I don't see how I can do it and not cause pain. So. And obviously, a lot of people, they don't have that problem. I don't know.
Yeah, they don't. They decide that is of lesser consequence than their desire to tell their truth. And the fact that you see what happens to, I can't believe I'm going to say the name, but when someone like Harry Windsor decides to do it, it blows up in his face. For precisely those reasons.
Harry Windsor?
Yeah, isn't that his last name?
Yeah, but how many people think of him as Harry Windsor?
Well, he ain't a royal anymore.
Well, no, he's still a prince.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. Him. There's one. and then he expects to have a relationship with his father and his brother. I mean, but I guess those bridges all were burned long ago. But it's just
from his point of view, though they had burned the bridges. He's just talking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's okay. That's the exact case in point. That these
Margaret. Wait a minute.
What?
Margaret is saying, she just wrote me and said, Lynn, you don't remember anything. Meaning what, Margaret? That I couldn't write a memoir because I don't remember my life? You're right. I mean, you are right.
Margaret, she told most of it to me, and I do remember.
Well, I'm always amazed when people tell me things about my life. Yeah, I am. Wow. I don't know. It's odd. I remember enough, I'll tell you that. But you are right. And I was thinking that would be another impediment for me writing, and that the detail is gone. But I'm sure a lot of people who write these things, the detail's gone. You just fill it in. What difference does it make? Who's going to challenge you? So I think memoirs can be really, truly self-serving. And the good ones are not necessarily self-serving. They are revealing and honest.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a good one. Oh, guys, I don't know. So, Susan, they're
but not to quote the Queen or anything, but honest is sometimes a matter of perspective. You can be very honest and wrong.
Well, yeah. I mean, how we view anything, I guess. There is such a thing as truth, though.
There is, but I mean, I'm just going to call in, the research on eyewitnesses and how they're swearing that they're telling the truth, and in their mind they are, but they're wrong about everything they saw.
Yeah. Something's happening here that's just ripping me apart every time I actually drove in a different direction the other day, so I didn't have to go by it. But it's a Tree of Life, where the massacre is being demolished.
No.
So it stood there that's over 4 years ago. It's been standing there in this, sort of coming apart, and with this horrible chain link fence around it with, posters of, talking about love and community and stuff on it. And it's being taken down. And it's just one of the things that struck me is how easy it is to tear things down. I mean, how?
Oh yeah, they can make that disappear in a couple of minutes.
Bang. Just bang. I mean, the whole back half is already gone. Now they're holding on to a part of it, and then building around that one wall of the sanctuary. But that thing has been there the whole time I've lived here, and it's just. I don't know. I don't know. And then on top of it, I don't know what you think of this. There's a house directly across from it, on the corner, that has been for sale for, I'd say, about 4 or 5 months. And when I first saw the for sale sign go up, I thought, oh man, lots of luck. Who wants to buy a house across from the scene of a massacre? And it's a lovely house, but I'm thinking that house lost so much value as well that day. Then these poor people who own it are trying to sell it. Okay, now I was thinking, but it's being torn down, so maybe now someone will buy it. And then I thought, who the hell would buy a house when you're going to be listening to construction noise for 2 years? I just want to say I feel for whoever owns that house.
Yeah, what are they supposed to do? Sue the guy that did? I mean,
No, there's nothing they can do. It's just dumb luck.
Wondering whether they can, whether we can find a casualty loss or an insurable something or other here.
I have no idea, but they are screwed. I always thought it was and for Pittsburgh, it is would have been a real find in that it's a single floor. It's a one floor house. That is rare, and it is rare in Squirrel Hill, where they're all it's an older housing stock, so it's surrounded by all these big tall houses. And it always had a beautiful yard. It was well kept up. And I always thought, wow, nice house. But I don't know. All righty. I just wonder who, the realtor got. Yeah,
well, okay. But I mean, I'm just thinking about there's a lot of things wrong with the location. Even just being across the street from a church or a synagogue without the history, in my mind, is not a great place. Is not a great thing because it's traffic.
Yeah. Well, and anyone who buys
and they're on the corner on a busy street. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
A lot of people, it doesn't bother. Although I want to tell people who are on corners, come to think of it, just shovel your damn sidewalk. Or I'm almost, not that I hope I fall and break a leg again, but if I do, I will sue your pants off. I will. And I don't understand. I once lived on a corner. Living on a corner also means having a lot of sidewalk to shovel.
But it is your responsibility.
It's your responsibility. And there's one house in my neighborhood. They never shovel it. I also know a man who lives on the street who fell when other people owned it and didn't shovel it and grievously injured himself. It is just beyond me. And I want to say, if you're one of those people who's not shoveling, damn you, damn you, damn you. I went out and shoveled my walk. I'm the only one who shoveled their walk.
I'm in Chicago, so it's as you're walking along, that's exactly right. There are people that understand that they could be sued, and then you just get on a stretch of bumpy ice, and crunched and melted and refrozen snow. I mean, it's treacherous.
Well, I've been afraid, frankly, to go. What I did is I put the dog in the car the other day because I'm afraid to walk in my own neighborhood. I took the dog over to a real rich and flat part of town.
And walk there, right.
Yeah, because the rich people tend to...
Well, they hire people to do it.
That's right. They have people who come and do it. And lo and behold, it was clear. So that's what I'm doing now, because I'm trying to get through the winter without killing myself. Excuse me. I didn't mean to scream. But again, it's part of our culture. We do not have an outward-facing culture. It's all inward. It's all me, 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 me. So you don't ever think. People just don't think about
there's no
greater whole.
No, the concept of community and neighborhood and being neighborly seems to have disappeared. I mean, our mother wouldn't put up a political sign because it's not neighborly. It's forcing your views on your neighbor who might disagree with you, and you'd rather be friends and neighborly. And that's why you don't put up a political sign. It's
a lot of people put them up to annoy their neighbors.
Well, but yes, we know that too.
No, and other people put them up because it helps. It does help a candidate.
No. I'm just talking about when we were growing up, what her philosophy about putting a sign up was, and it came out of a sense of community.
Well, we don't got no damn community.
No,
okay?
no. Now we express it by, this is my side. What side are you on?
I was having a nightmare last night before my hand fell into the puke. And
I just love it when in exactly an hour we've come full circle. Okay.
And it was about 9/11, and it was like someone making a documentary, and they were interviewing me, and I was saying some stuff that I remember feeling like were really eloquent. And one of them was about how it took a divided nation and brought us together. And I'm thinking maybe that's what we need. We need some more horror. It's like all
no,
the
that's what Netanyahu thought, and look what he got.
Yeah, all the sci-fi movies. I just rewatched Arrival, which is one where extraterrestrials come to Earth, and Earth's about to just kill them, go to war, and instead, it brings us at the very end, right? It brings the world together. And I often thought, like a common threat but it wasn't a threat. It turns out it wasn't a threat at all. I actually, it's a very good movie if you've not seen it. Arrival. Amy Adams and what's his name, Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, the guy that got run over by his tractor. Yeah.
Yeah, poor guy. Jeez.
Well,
okay, I think that's it. We're out of time.
Yeah, we're out of time. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye, guys. See you tomorrow.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.